over 7 years, GT Academy has taken the best gamers from around the world and transformed them into professional racing drivers. Winners have gone from virtual to reality, competing around the globe, winning podiums and racing in the top class of the biggest races on the planet. The racing experiment has gone to be the most innovative driver development program in the world and has embraced gamers from over 30 countries worldwide, producing more winners than ever. But there have been errors, crashes and failures, and for every podium there have been retirements. Not every winner at GT Academy has made the grade. This year, to make sure they succeed, we'll follow the team as GT Academy goes back to basics. Roman Sarazan beat over 100,000 gamers to win GT Academy at Race Camp in Dubai. Yes! He's now racing in the intensive driver development program to improve his driving skills so that he can become a pro racing driver. He's hoping to follow in the footsteps of previous GT Academy drivers, racing a full 24 hours at circuits like Spa, Nürburgring and Le Mans-La Salle.
Alex Buncombe, Wolfgang Reiber, Captain Mazzuccio to win Pro Cup.
It's not all about speed, it's about endurance, pure endurance, not even 3 hours or 4 hours.
From a driving point of view, it's the ultimate challenge. It's the ultimate test of man and machine.
It's just crazy. For me, it's crazy 24 hours. It's not human.
What makes 24-hour racing so difficult is the fact that the week preceding the actual race weekend is always very, very tough. When people talk about a 24-hour race, they talk about the weekend, but in actual fact, it's a complete week, really, of very late nights and early mornings. So by the time the race starts, you're already really short on sleep.
24 hours is always tough. When we race in Blancpain, we have almost around 1 hour stints. The difference is you have to repeat it 6 times, and it's easy to lose focus then, so you really have to concentrate.
The academy drivers need the help of the experienced drivers. It's a big task because drivers can put in a great effort in, say, a 3-hour race if they're driving 1 hour. And they get out and think, great, I've done that. And they can walk away and relax and see how their teammate gets on. But when they've got to get back in, that's really when the difficult part of doing a race for a driver kicks in. Not just the second time, but again and again.
Other than fatigue and tiredness, a major challenge of competing in a 24-hour race is driving in the dark.
Night racing is a big part in endurance racing. You're expected to be as quick as you are in the daytime as you are in the nighttime. I quite like driving in the dark. I see lights and flames and sparks and it's cool. But when you're racing in a pack of 50 cars, when it turns dark, sometimes the driving standards aren't as good as they are when it's daytime.
What makes it so difficult at night is you can't judge the distances anymore, and the people we overtake also can't judge how far we are away, and it makes the whole thing very, very dangerous. So the person in front doesn't really know when are we coming on the right side to overtake on the left side, and vice versa if somebody comes from behind.
Overtaking someone, the lights are more powerful than normal full beams on road cars, so when you're doing 160 miles an hour and there's a guy flashing at you behind, it's quite dazzling.
When you race in the dark, you can't look that far ahead, so you have to be sure where the track is. You have to really focus to drive fast.
The hardest race for me, 24-hour-wise, racing in the dark would have to be Spa. You have the main straight, and then pretty much you're in darkness. After that, you head up through a rouge, and your headlights are facing down, so you can't see Radion. But you know, if I keep going, the lights will face upwards, and I can see where I'm going. And then you have corners like Blanchimont, 165 miles an hour. You can't see the corner when you're approaching it because your headlights are facing directly in front. And then the corner's over there, and you're sort of like trying to get as close as you can to the inside curb, but you can't really see the inside curb. And it's just relentless as well. It's just, there's so many cars on track, there's so many lights, there's so much going on.
The new GT Academy graduates are about to get their first taste of endurance driving, but this requires some preparation in the simulator.
So the way we prepare an endurance race is a little different. We work more on consistency, not make mistakes. We stay a long time in the simulator to prepare our brain and our body to stay longer in the car.
The simulator is hugely useful. Historically, we drive for 15, 20 minutes and look at the telemetry. We're now focusing on 1 hour, 1 hour 15 length stints to see and ensure that they can drive consistently over a much longer period, which is a key skill to being a great GT driver, that you can lap consistently for a minimum of 1 hour.
Focus and concentration, whether it's a 10-minute race or a 3-hour race, is ever so important when you're in the car, because it's constantly giving you feedback, and if you're not prepared to take that on board, it can catch you out quite easily in the conditions conditions, especially in the GT4 with how quick it is.
Great consistency, Roman.
Romain has been impressing the coaches with his consistency ahead of his first endurance race, but mentor Rob worries about his focus.
40 minutes into his long run stint, he'd lapped within 0.4 of a second lap on lap, which was hugely impressive. But then he made a small mistake on the exit of the final chicane, ran wide and actually hit the wall. So that's maybe setting some alarm bells off for us. Can he drive for an hour plus without making those simple mistakes? If you can do the first 40 minutes hugely consistently, the only reason really to make a mistake beyond that is if you lose focus, and I think that was an example of that just there. OK, Roman, box this lap, box this lap.
After preparation in the simulator, the rookies arrive at Donington.
Today is 2 races of 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's our first true test. It's going to be interesting.
To be here and take part in 2 hour-and-a-half endurance races, there's a lot of mental focus, a lot of physical focus that we need to have to get through today.
This is definitely their hardest and most difficult race meeting. Last weekend they were lapping the whole field. This weekend they've got much more powerful cars in the same race, and a top 6 would be really very good.
The cars are faster, and for the first time the drivers have to share. Other firsts are pit stops and learning to nurse the car so it's in good condition at the handover.
Compulsory change, so always check with that guy. Cool, let's go do some pit stop practice.
In terms of looking after one set of tyres for an hour-and-a-half race is absolutely crucial. So the first guy can't use them all up, otherwise the second guy will be left with nothing.
In race 1, Matt starts the race and makes good early progress.
He's currently running P10 after 30 minutes, so very pleased with his performance so far. The track's evolving, but that's just the nature of endurance racing when you start off with a very wet track and it progressively gets drier. So it's going to be a tough drive, I think, for Roman as well.
As Matt's stint comes to an end, Roman waits to get in the car. The team have a mandatory 90 seconds to refuel and change drivers, but confusion between the drivers delays the pit stop.
Bit slow. We were well over the 90-second pit stop window, so not the best pit stop.
Roman didn't quite get into the car as quickly as we'd have liked, and maybe slightly flustered because it's in a race situation.
Roman starts to settle into his 45-minute stint, but not long after going out, he unexpectedly returns to the pit lane.
I think he's getting confused. He's already gone through the pits twice, and we're not sure why.
Well, after the errors, Roman settles into a good rhythm and moves up the field. Then on the final lap, potential disaster narrowly averted. Roman gets a puncture, but he keeps the car under control and manages to take the checkered flag.
We were fairly fortunate to finish race 1. Roman had a 45-minute stint, and on the last lap he picked up a puncture, so the car just managed to creep over the line. If it'd been one more lap, we would probably really struggle to get the car around.
If the race was 1 minute more, I didn't finish.
Yeah, no, so that's amazing. We got it home, mate. Doesn't matter, don't think like that.
I made 2 mistakes. I saw a stop and go board, and I believed it was for me, but it was not. Now I'm focusing on race 2.
After a disappointing opening race, Romain must stay focused throughout the second 90-minute stint. He takes on his first rolling start. Matt will take control of the car for the second stint and driving into the darkness.
So make sure when you go out on circuit, as the light starts to deteriorate, you start looking for references that you can still use, because a lot of your references that you've been using will disappear.
Romain heads out to start race 2, while team principal Rob watches on nervously.
First ever running start for Roman, it was perfect. You know, he found a nice gap into turn 1 and maintained his position through turn 1, but then actually picked up a few positions on the first lap, which we couldn't ask for any more than that, and he's settled in now to a very smooth, consistent speed, so he's lapping very well.
As the race continues, Romain keeps his focus. He's quick and consistent.
Roman's out there putting in some very good lap times and very consistent lap times and keeping pace with some much quicker machinery.
Romain comes in from an impressive 45-minute stint, and both drivers complete the pit stop within 50 seconds.
Race 2, much better than the first. I'm happy with the second race.
Matt sees the sunset and copes well with the changing light conditions. He's quick and moving through the field.
Darkness is setting now, but Matt's riding superbly well actually, very consistent. Really impressed so far. A few minutes to go, so hopefully he can bring it home. Currently P1 in class, that's a fantastic result.
Matt takes the checkered flag and P1 in class.
It's a really good result. Congratulations, mate.
A really solid second race from both drivers, and then we finished P1 in class, so brilliant effort in the GT4 car.
This is perfect experience to move on to Blancpain, so it's pretty good.
Once again, big learning weekend, some mistake I did, and I know that I will not do that again. So it's not good for the first race, but it's good for my landing.
It certainly wasn't a faultless weekend from either driver. They've both learned an awful lot. Every time they go out, we aim to learn something, and some valuable lessons learned here today.
The result is really good. We get 2 signatures more. For me, it's 11 signatures. I have 1 more to complete my international license, so it's really good. 1 second place and 1 first place, so it's almost perfect.
Join us next week when we find out how Romain handles testing a 550 horsepower GTR GT3 car. And we'll be hoping to race as a pro driver, of course, in such machinery.